The sands of Egypt hold countless secrets, whispers of a civilization that flourished thousands of years ago. We are captivated by the grandeur of the pyramids, the enigmatic gaze of the Sphinx, and the intricate hieroglyphs that adorn temple walls. But sometimes, the most intriguing mysteries are found in the smaller, seemingly unusual artifacts. Today, we delve into one such enigma, the curious case of ancient Egyptian ear tablets. Our story begins in the 1930s, near the majestic Great Sphinx of Giza. Dr. Salim Hassan, a prominent Egyptologist, was leading excavations in and around the New Kingdom Sphinx temple built by Amenhotep II, as well as within the Sphinx's enclosure itself. Amidst the expected finds, something peculiar emerged. Stone stelae, not inscribed with the usual hieroglyphs or divine figures but with carvings of human ears. These were not isolated occurrences. Dozens of these ear tablets were unearthed, presenting a perplexing puzzle.
The material culture of ancient Egypt, rich in its symbolism and artistry, provides a profound understanding of the civilization's religious beliefs and practices. From the monumental scale of temple architecture to the intricate detail of personal adornments, every object offers a potential window into the ancient Egyptian worldview. Among the more unusual and intriguing artifacts are the so-called ear stelae, or ear tablets, votive objects typically made of stone, featuring carvings of human ears. Predominantly dating to the New Kingdom, these objects have been discovered at various sites across Egypt, with a notable concentration around the Great Sphinx of Giza. This video aims to analyze the phenomenon of ear stelae, drawing upon archaeological evidence, epigraphic inscriptions, and previous scholarly interpretations. It will further explore the social and cultural implications of these artifacts, examining their role in personal piety and their place within the wider context of New Kingdom religious practices. The discovery of a significant number of ear stelae in the 1930s by Egyptian archaeologist Salim Hassan during excavations on the Giza Plateau provides a crucial foundation for understanding these artifacts. Hassan's meticulous work, particularly in the vicinity of the New Kingdom Sphinx temple, constructed by Amenhotep II, and within the Sphinx's enclosure itself, revealed a clear association between ear stelae and the Sphinx during this period. These findings, as meticulously documented in Hassan's multi-volume excavations at Giza, are fundamental to any serious study of the subject. Ear stelae exhibit a fascinating range of iconographic variations, reflecting the diversity of artistic expression and potentially different levels of patronage. Some stelae feature a single, large, and prominently carved ear, while others depict multiple ears, sometimes numbering in the dozens, arranged in rows or clusters. The quality of craftsmanship also varies considerably, from finely detailed and polished examples to more rudimentary and less refined carvings. This variation might suggest production by both skilled artisans, perhaps attached to temple workshops, and individuals of lesser means, possibly creating their own votive offerings. The stelae are often inscribed with a dedicatory formula, typically beginning with the phrase "made by," followed by the name, and sometimes the title of the dedicator. This formulaic phrase is common on New Kingdom votive objects and provides valuable information about the individuals who commissioned and dedicated these stelae. For example, a finely crafted stele found in the vicinity of the Sphinx, featuring two well-defined ears and a depiction of Horemakhet in the form of a hawk, bears the inscription "Made by Hui." Another, discovered nearby and possibly the largest ear stele ever found, features a single imposing ear alongside a smaller figure of a deity perched on a pedestal. This stele is inscribed "Made by May." This May is likely the same individual documented in inscriptions found on the cliffs near the Khafre Pyramid. These inscriptions identify him as an overseer of works under Ramesses the Great, responsible for quarrying stone from the Khafre Pyramid complex for the construction of a new sun temple at Heliopolis. The fact that a high-ranking official like May, involved in major royal building projects, also dedicated an ear stele to the Sphinx, underscores the potential social range of individuals who participated in this practice, extending from high officials to, as suggested by the simpler stele, commoners. The prevailing interpretation of ear stelae, advanced by pioneering Egyptologists like Flinders Petrie and Salim Hassan, posits that these objects served as intermediaries in facilitating communication between worshippers and the divine. The carved ears were believed to act as conduits or receptors for prayers, ensuring that the devotees' petitions reached the intended deity. This interpretation aligns with the broader ancient Egyptian concept of divine accessibility through intermediaries, a concept well documented in the use of statues, divine images, and other cult objects that served as focal points for worship and communication with the gods. Petrie, in his seminal work Religious Life in Ancient Egypt, specifically connected the imagery of ears on these stelae to the act of hearing prayers, suggesting a direct and literal interpretation of the iconography. Hassan, in his excavation reports, further developed this idea, proposing that the ears served as symbolic substitutes for the actual ears of the god, effectively creating a direct channel for auditory communication. The presence of multiple ears on some stelae has prompted various hypotheses and scholarly debates. Wilhelm Spiegelberg, in his early 20th century studies, notably in the Zeitschrift für Ägyptische Sprache und Altertumskunde, proposed a connection to a deity with 77 ears and 77 eyes, suggesting a being of extraordinary sensory perception. While direct textual evidence for such a specific deity remains elusive, an inscription at the Temple of Khnum at Esna describes this creator god as having 77 eyes and 77 ears, lending some credence to the idea of deities with heightened or multiplied sensory capabilities. Alternative and perhaps more pragmatic explanations for the multiple ears include the representation of multiple prayers or petitions being offered simultaneously. Each ear could symbolize a separate prayer, either from the same individual or from multiple individuals, such as a family or a community. Another possibility is that the multiple ears served as a kind of fail-safe mechanism, ensuring that the message would reach the god even if some of the ears were damaged or defaced, a practical consideration given the potential for wear and tear on objects placed in open-air sanctuaries. The significant concentration of ear stelae discovered in the immediate vicinity of the Great Sphinx is of particular importance and cannot be overlooked. During the New Kingdom, the Sphinx experienced a dramatic revival in religious importance. It became identified as Hore-Makhet, meaning Horus in the horizon, a powerful solar deity associated with kingship and divine protection. The pharaohs of the 18th and 19th dynasties, including Thutmose IV, Amenhotep II, Tutankhamun, and Ramesses the Great, actively promoted the cult of the Sphinx. They undertook extensive renovations of the Sphinx enclosure, constructed new temples dedicated to Hore-Makhet, and erected royal stelae within the sacred precinct. The famous Dream Stele of Thutmose IV, for example, narrates a divine encounter with Hore-Makhet, who promised the throne to the young prince in exchange for clearing the sand that had encroached upon the Sphinx. This royal patronage elevated the Sphinx to a position of national religious prominence. The ear stelae of New Kingdom Egypt offer a unique and intriguing glimpse into the religious landscape of the period. These artifacts, with their distinctive iconography and inscriptions, provide tangible evidence of a specific form of votive practice centered on the concept of auditory communication with the divine. While the precise details of the rituals associated with ear stelae remain open to interpretation, their connection to prominent deities like Hore-Makhet and Ptah, as well as their widespread geographical distribution, underscore their significance within the broader context of New Kingdom religious beliefs and practices.
Located to the south of the Giza Pyramid complex, the Kromer dump is a crescent-shaped accumulation of ancient debris, a seemingly mundane collection of discarded materials. First excavated in the 1970s by the Austrian archaeologist Karl Kromer and later re-examined in 2018 by the Ancient Egypt Research Associates under the direction of Dr. Mark Lehner, the dump has been traditionally viewed through the lens of the Fourth Dynasty. The AERA's 2018 findings, for instance, led them to characterize it as a Fourth Dynasty demolition and trash heap, with materials consistent with a demolished royal rest house or small palace dating back to the reign of Khafre, builder of the Second Pyramid. This interpretation aligns with the prevailing understanding of Giza as a necropolis primarily developed during the Fourth Dynasty. However, Kromer's original findings, meticulously detailed in his extensive 1978 publication, Settlement Finds from the Early Old Kingdom in Giza, Austrian excavations 1971 to 1975 paint a far more nuanced and intriguing picture. While acknowledging the undeniable presence of 4th Dynasty materials, Kromer also identified a significant number of artifacts that he dated to the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd dynasties of the early dynastic period. Even more provocatively, he believed some artifacts even hinted at pre-dynastic activity on the plateau, predating the unification of Egypt under Narmer, also known as Menes. This raises a fundamental question that challenges the conventional narrative. Was the Kromer dump merely a convenient disposal site for the 4th Dynasty builders, or was it a repository for materials from a much older settlement, a vibrant community that thrived on the Giza Plateau long before the pyramids were conceived? In his 1972 preliminary report, Kromer put forward a bold and, at the time, radical hypothesis. Based on his initial findings, he proposed that an extensive settlement existed on the site of the Giza Plateau, flourishing from the 1st Dynasty through to the 3rd Dynasty. He postulated that at the beginning of the 4th Dynasty, this settlement was deliberately demolished to make way for the construction of the royal necropolis, a grand project that would forever transform the landscape. This interpretation directly challenges the long-held view of Giza as a relatively vacant landscape before the 4th Dynasty, suggesting instead that it was a site of significant human activity for centuries prior. If Kromer's hypothesis is correct, it would necessitate a fundamental reassessment of Giza's early history and the motivations behind the choice of this location for the royal cemetery. Kromer's claims were not based on mere speculation, but on a careful analysis of the artifacts unearthed from the dump. Let's delve deeper into the key pieces of evidence that support his hypothesis. Pottery, a ubiquitous find in archaeological contexts, often serves as a crucial indicator of chronology and cultural affiliation. Kromer identified numerous pottery shards within the dump that exhibited decorative scratch marks, reminiscent of styles associated with both the pre-dynastic Naqada II culture, 3500 to 3200 BCE, and the early dynastic cultures of Lower Egypt. The presence of these distinct pottery styles suggests that the Giza settlement may have had connections to, or was even inhabited by people from these earlier periods. Perhaps the most compelling and chronologically significant evidence comes from the clay ceilings found within the dump. Clay ceilings were used in ancient Egypt to secure containers, doors, and documents, often bearing impressions of cylinder seals or stamps that identified the owner, official, or institution responsible. Kromer discovered several clay ceilings depicting animal figures, hieroglyphic symbols, and geometric patterns. Based on stylistic comparisons with ceilings from other sites, he confidently dated a number of these ceilings to the Thinite period, a term used to describe the early dynastic period, dynasties 1 and 2, when the city of Thinis, near Abydos, served as the capital. In addition to pottery and ceilings, Kromer also uncovered a variety of stone tools, including fishing hooks, blades, and triangular scrapers. While these types of tools are not always definitively datable, as their forms can persist for long periods, their presence is consistent with pre-dynastic and early dynastic technologies. Their context within the dump, alongside the pottery and ceilings, strengthens the possibility of their earlier origins. Furthermore, the discovery of faience tiles within the dump adds another layer to the argument. Faience, a glazed ceramic material, was often used in royal and elite contexts. Kromer noted the similarity of these tiles to those found in the southern tomb of Djoser, the first pyramid builder of the 3rd Dynasty, located at Saqqara. This similarity suggests that structures of some significance, possibly even royal or administrative buildings, may have existed at Giza prior to the 4th Dynasty. One of the most intriguing and debated finds from the Kromer dump is a small 3.6 centimeter long mud statuette of a sphinx. Unearthed in Trench F, alongside the crucial early dynastic clay ceilings, this object, according to Kromer, could potentially be the oldest sphinx statuette ever discovered in Egypt. However, it deviates significantly from the standard iconography of later sphinx representations, sparking considerable debate about its date and meaning. The statuette's most striking feature is its lack of the iconic pharaonic Nemes headdress, the striped headcloth worn by royalty. Instead, it sports a meticulously detailed hairstyle with individual curls arranged in concentric circles. This unusual feature immediately sets it apart from the vast majority of known Sphinx statues, which almost invariably depict the royal headdress. Kromer, who firmly believed that the Great Sphinx of Giza was a creation of Khafre, tentatively dated the statuette to the same 4th dynasty reign. However, he acknowledged the stylistic peculiarities. The absence of the royal headdress, the crudeness of the carving, although the hair is remarkably detailed, and the unusual posture of the lion's body all raise questions about this attribution. The presence of pre-dynastic pottery at various locations on the Giza Plateau provides a crucial link to the earlier cultures that inhabited the region before the rise of the unified Egyptian state. The Ma'adi culture, a significant pre-dynastic culture that flourished in Lower Egypt from around 4000 to 3200 BCE, is of particular interest. Archaeological evidence, primarily in the form of pottery, confirms that the Ma'adi people had a presence at Giza. While the extent and nature of their occupation remain largely unknown, the Kromer dump, with its potentially pre-dynastic artifacts, offers a tantalizing glimpse into this earlier period. It raises the possibility that Giza was not merely a vacant landscape chosen for its strategic location by the 4th dynasty kings, but rather a site with a long and complex history, a place that may have held significance for the Ma'adi people and their predecessors.